We've been very dependent upon European Horizon 2020 funding. We need the UK government to find effective ways of compensating for the fact that we might not have access to that funding moving forward. But on the positive side, I've just come back from a visit to China with some very good conversations around the learning and research agendas, and we get many Chinese students. We've just signed this year an MOU with Mexico, which will be really interesting for us. I was in Singapore last week, and Singapore are very keen to work with us at Cranfield. So, from an international point of view, we'll find new and different ways of working with the rest of the world. So there are challenges. We need to reassure people. We need to find solutions to particular problems. But we work in a global industry. We work in a global university network, and we need to find the solutions moving forward.
When you're doing all that long distance flying, are you analysing the flight as you go along, thinking about it, or do you just put your headphones on and forget all about it?
Well, it's interesting. I don't wear headphones. I kind of visualise things probably as we're taking off and as we're landing, and so it goes right back to my roots. But you can hear the noises of when the flaps are retracted, or the slats and flaps are extended as you come in. You listen for the landing gear coming down and engaging. You kind of look out. I mean, if you've got a window seat beside a wing. My particular background was involved in wing design for Airbus, so it's great to see the movement of the wing in cruise, the extension of the wing tips, and how they're operating, and some of the large flexible structures you have today. When you actually in a little bit of turbulence you can see the wings just flutter a little bit. So yes, there's always that analytical sort of approach to it. I love it. I mean, I love flying, and I love just trying to think of the physics of what's happening at the moment.
I think you're the first person who's ever looked out for wings to flutter. I think people would panic if they saw anything like that.
Well, flutter's the wrong word in a technical sense. But ripple, just to see the sort of little oscillations of the wing when having been in the lab and seen the tests that are done, it gives you complete reassurance of you're well within all the envelopes and limits of the wing design.
Do your current role still allow you to get your hands dirty, or do you spend time watching other people get theirs dirty?
Well, it's getting your hands dirty is a sort of a notion that, in some respects, doesn't exist anymore. I mean, some of the most modern factories are the cleanest places I've ever been to. But by asking the question, do you mean, do you get down to the sort of working level and do you work with people and do things? I mean, I find there's nothing motivates me more than getting down and being amongst people. But when you're in senior positions, sometimes you don't get down as often as you'd like to. But there's nothing motivates me more than actually getting down in amongst it and seeing what people what people do. But getting your hands dirty is a notion that I think is changing. You only need to go round something like the McLaren factory, and you start to understand. You'd cook your dinner off the floor in that factory. It's spotlessly clean, and so I think getting your hands dirty is a notion that in engineering we're trying to move away from.
Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. Still to come, those interesting facts and figures from Abta, who's having their travel convention in Abu Dhabi as I'm recording this. But we're now coming to the end of my interview with my guest, Iain Gray, who's Professor and Director of Aerospace at Cranfield University. Iain has covered the history of the place and the future with the stuff they're researching at the minute with the Aerospace Integration Research Centre and Air Traffic Management Laboratory. We found out a little bit more about Iain in the last little section. We're going to find out a little bit more now. And one of the things we're going to find out is that he actually was awarded a CBE. So we're going to be finding out about that as well. You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. I don't like to say you've been involved in something for a long time, but you've been in aerospace for a while. What's the thing you're most proud of?
The thing I'm most proud of, I mean, I joined the aerospace industry back in the end of the 1970s, early 1980s, and in fact it was Concorde that attracted me into the industry, and so my early engagement in Concorde was like the fulfillment of a childhood ambition, and I loved that. I guess if I was to look at what I'm most proud of over my whole career, it was my position when I was the head of the A380 wing project in Bristol, and the 27th of April 2005, it was witnessing with all of my colleagues at Filton the first flight of the A380 aircraft. It was just a magnificent feeling and experience, and the culmination of probably 7 or 8 years effort, and it brought, it was something I was particularly proud of, and I will never ever forget.
I can't remember my wedding date, let alone remember something I'd done at work all that time. So it must have been a big day.
It was a big day. Yeah. It was my mother's birthday as well, which helps me remember the day a little bit. But that's not to take away from the fact that I do vividly remember the day and the event.
You have a CBE. I need to know what was involved in collecting it.
Well, very proud and privileged to have been awarded a CBE. It was a CBE in recognition of my contributions to aerospace and innovation. I was, I had 35 years working in Airbus. I had 8 years working in what was the UK's innovation agency. I led the UK's innovation agency. So it was in recognition of my role in both of those that I got the CBE. I got it in 2014. I was awarded it by the Queen at Windsor Castle. It was, it was a terrific day. So pleased that I could share it with my family, but also so pleased that so many of my colleagues were sending me good luck messages, and we were able to share after the event with colleagues, because I think it was a recognition not just of my own role, but a recognition of everybody that I had been working with and their contribution to aviation and innovation as well. So a very proud moment, one that I'm very privileged to have had, but a recognition of not just me, of all the folk that I've worked with in the 35 plus years in the aerospace sector.
I think I would have been a wreck, but you sound like you would have taken it all in your stride when you was there.
It was, you sometimes stand up in front of an audience of 200 or 300 people, and you can manage it. You have 20 seconds probably talking to the Queen, and somehow you're nervous. It's an anxious moment, but she's a very reassuring person, and she makes it very easy for you to do it. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how you can be nervous about little small but very significant events like that, and yet you can stand up in front of hundreds of people some of the time and talk. But it was a great moment.
What advice would you have for somebody who wants to become involved in the aerospace industry?
Well, first, if they want to go for it, I mean, it's a great sector to be in. It's an exciting sector. My advice would be find some good mentors, find some people who have experience. Be bold. One of the difficult things about the industry these days is we don't develop as many products as we used to in the past. People that joined the industry even 25 years ago might have seen 4 or 5 big product developments in their lifetime, whereas people joining the sector today may only see 1 or 2 big projects in their lifetime. Getting involved in projects early is exciting. I would say go for it. Be brave. Big companies, small companies, well, they provide different opportunities. Depends what suits you. But with the emergence of new technologies and autonomy and drones, there's actually some very exciting opportunities in small companies. Big companies continue to provide superb training opportunities. So try and work out in your own mind what it is you want to do, whether you want to be part of a big company or a small company. Talk to people. So I guess my key advice would be find some good mentors, people that will stay with you through your career and can provide you with the advice of what direction to take your career. But it's a very exciting sector to be in. So it would come with the strongest recommendation from me. Go for it.
We've only glossed over some of the stuff that you do at the university, so how can we find out more?
The university has rebranded this year. It's got a new website. Like every organisation and institution, then the websites are a useful first start. There are opportunities to engage with the university. If you're living in the local community, there are plenty of people in the local community who work here or who have are students here or one way or another are engaged. Find out who those people are and talk to them. People at Cranfield, by and large, are very keen to talk about what we do here at Cranfield. So, find out somebody and just follow that through. Ask questions. So use the conventional sources of information as your first port of call. But the best way to get to know a place is to get to know its people.
Okay, thanks, Iain. Thank you for your time.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Enjoyed the conversation.
You can follow me on Twitter @holiday_hut. The website for Cranfield University is cranfield.ac.uk. Do have a visit. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. You never know, you might be inspired enough to sign up for a course. So, this week, Abta is in Abu Dhabi for the annual travel convention. It's basically a big jolly for Abta members and the press. And no, I'm not bitter that I'm not there. Abta has been a travel brand for over 65 years. Its purpose is to help members to grow their businesses successfully and sustainably, and to help their customers travel with confidence. Abta does not stand for the Association of British Travel Agents. It dropped this back in 2007, so if a travel expert calls it by its old name, then they don't know travel, or at least you can say they're nearly 10 years out of date. As well as new business ideas at the convention, there's a lot of information released, and here's a summary of 5 press releases released on Abta's Holiday Habits Report of 2016. The first one is that British holiday makers have continued to holiday abroad during the last 12 months, but have opted for more city breaks than traditional beach holidays. The Abta research was done in conjunction with Arkenfold Limited, and this is a company that specialises in leisure and tourism market research. Found that over half of the UK population, 56%, took a holiday abroad in the last 12 months to August.